Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's September the 15th, 2025. I'm Andrew Lacey, and welcome. Today's Zoom call is about what have you changed to make a change in your business and life. And before we go there, let's focus on what you're changing to go to the next level. Last week, I talked about goals. I did 7 out of 10 calls last week on one thing: your goals, your short-term, your long-term, your emotional goals. But to reach a goal or to do anything in life, if you want something different than what you got, you have to change. And I'm going to start this morning talking about change. To make a change, you have to be committed to that change. It has to become a habit. You have to have a positive attitude, not just an attitude, but a positive attitude. You have to do it now, not getting ready to get started, to get going, to get ready to get started, to get ready to get ready to get started, to get going, but do it now. When you make that change, you have to give 100% to that change. And you need to be excited about the change you're making. 60 days ago, I told you, well, actually, on July the 21st. See, tomorrow will be 60 days ago that on July the 19th, I said, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to change my life again. I'm 66 years old and still wanting to change to get better. Better at how I communicate, better in my life with people, better for my children, better for my wife, better in every aspect of my life, not just my business. One thing I've done is increase the number of calls from like 5 calls a week to it. There have been 10 calls now, 8 weeks in a row for 56 days. I've done 10 calls each week. Did I have to make that change? No. But I wanted to take the people I'm working with to the next level. And if I could talk to you instead of once a week or 3 times a week or 5 times, but to give you the opportunity to hear me 10 times. Imagine that years ago, for my first 10 years, I did a 5-minute call once a week. Last week was 10 times 30. What's that? 5 hours of calls. About that I did over almost a year's worth of calls, 48 weeks of calls in 1 week. What I did before years ago was 48 weeks to get the same amount of time as I did in 1 week. So that was more. I also think that I'm the best I've ever been at communicating to the people that I'm training and coaching and helping. So I want to focus on 60 days ago. I verbalized to you, even though in my mind I changed on July the 19th, it was July the 21st that I verbalized that I was going to change. I always tell you to verbalize your goals, verbalize your daily goal, verbalize your weekly goal, I verbalize everything. I start out by verbalizing, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. Someone needs my help today. I'm the best person to help someone today. Every day is the key. There are more great prospects than I can do business with. Some will, some won't. I won't next. And no today does not mean no tomorrow. That's right here in my manuscript. Would any of those, if you said you changed your belief, it changes your life. To change your belief of what you can do, what you can have, what you're going to have. You know, the thing I've been working on in the last few days is the clock. I finished the 7 proven beliefs in your life and business. 7 proven. See, proven means that people that have made those change their beliefs, it changed the direction of their business. But using the clock and communicating effectively, would you say you can communicate more effective than you did? Do you listen better? Do you observe what's going on with your clients in the market? Are you calculative in what you say? And do you always show kindness? The clock is a very powerful thing. I realize now that I use the clock not just with clients, not just in business, but with my entire life. I try to communicate with every person that I meet more effectively. I definitely listen more completely. I observe where they are in their life. I'm calculative in what I say to them, and I always try to show kindness. So the changes I've made in the last 59 days, tomorrow will be 60 days. Has it had an effect in my business? Yes, a great effect. But it's even had a greater effect for me. So if I asked you this morning, in the last year or two, if I asked you to click on and say, Andrew, this change that I made, I changed something I was doing, has helped me. And would you share how it's helped you? Because I would love to share that with the world. So anyone would like to share? Good morning. Good morning.
Andrew, it's Nicholas.
Good morning, Nicholas. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Nicholas, you're how old and what city do you live in?
I'm 19 in Warner Robins.
And I met you in March.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And I think last week you had been in real estate for 1 year.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. Well, could you share with us what change you made since we met in March?
Well, I've made multiple. Well, the biggest one for me was prospecting. I started prospecting, and that helped me build my business and start my business. But another thing is in these past 6 months, I've become more confident and I've started dressing professionally. And because of that, in public, people have started to come up to me, and it makes me talk to people I've never had interactions like that before.
So you stand out.
Yes, sir.
By dressing professionally, you stand out. I had an agent years ago that was in Palm Beach Gardens, and everybody down there wore a golf shirt and Dockers and didn't have socks on. And I told this young man who's doing about 10 closings a year, and I said, if you would wear a suit or a sports coat and a tie, people are going to look at you differently. He called me so many months later and he said, Coach, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. As soon as I get to the house, they treat me differently than they used to. I said, is this what you said? And this was 20 something years ago. So see, that hasn't changed to stand out and look differently. And he went from 10 closings to 50 closings. Why? Well, because he did call people each day and he did go on presentations. But the main thing was he was different than everyone else. Today I say answering the phone is different than everyone else. And I'm going to throw things in here while y'all share. So congratulations. I think you had 3 closings on 1 week, a week or two ago.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Congratulations. Is your business different than it was 6 months ago?
Yes, sir, it is.
And see, Nicholas, let me share something with you. This is how much you have of my program. This much, a few inches. You've got 6 feet to go, 10 feet that you could still have growth that do get better. Also notice that I've listened to you doing role playing on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I don't think I've ever seen anybody that had mastered the scripts. Would that be a good change to master the scripts? Absolutely. It doesn't matter what, people think prospecting is just calling people, but prospecting is just talking to everyone you know, sharing with everyone you know about the real estate market. And what's the real estate market? It's always great, fantastic, or excellent, no matter what's going on. If you tell people the real estate market is bad, that's what they're going to remember when they get ready to hire someone. But you can always say it's unbelievable. What's unbelievable? It's unbelievably bad, but we just don't say the bad part. It's just unbelievable. Anyone else? Congratulations, Nicholas.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning. That sounds like Michael Jager.
That's me.
Could you tell us how old you are and what city you're in?
Yes, sir. I'm 23. I'm down here in Charleston.
And this is your fourth year in real estate, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I met you 4 years ago, coming up in January. I think you had 8 closings the first year, 7 closings the second year. And then January of 2024, you came and you said, I'm going to make a commitment, and you hired me.
Yes, sir.
Guys, I'm not trying to get people to hire me today. This is not a self-promotion. He just decided he wanted to take his business to another level. And that year you had how many closings?
19.
19.
Yes, sir.
So you went from 8 to 19 in 1 year. That's kind of a bit of a difference of income, is it not?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what change have you made, Michael, to help your business?
There's 2 things that really stood out to me. Number 1, being available when people need me, and then number 2, listening intently. Like when I'm prospecting, I'm listening to everything that homeowners needs to relay to me, as well as when I'm going on presentations, I'm just listening to everything that they say so that I can answer and bring value the right way.
Yeah, and see, listening completely. Let me go a little bit deeper here. If you have not mastered your presentation, if you do not know what you're going to say at the greeting or the walkthrough or sitting down for the presentation and the close, if you're having to think about what to say, if you're thinking about what to say, you can't truly listen completely. But if you already know what you're going to say when you get to the door, and you know what you're going to say as you walk through the house, and you know what you say when you sit down at the table, and you know what you're going to say to close 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And see, now if someone's never met me, they can't. You can't close 7 times, but actually you can close 10 times. It's just not sign here, sign here, sign here. There's other words. And once you master the objections, then really you go to that next level. How's your business right now?
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The past 14 days, I've signed 2 listings. I'm working on getting 2 more signed this week, and I've picked up 2 buyers.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
What you have is a business that's, activities that generate income. And your activities are listing presentations, showing property, writing offers, negotiating contracts.
Yes, sir.
And where did you get your business from?
Prospecting. And one of those is past clients.
And one of those are past clients. And you've only been in real estate 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Michael, congratulations. You have something that's duplicatable, meaning today you could come in this morning and possibly get a new appointment. Tomorrow you can come in and possibly get a new appointment. And when you get the possibility, then you change that to, when you get that listing, the probability is going to sell. Possibility. Every day we have an opportunity. Anyone else? Don't be shy.
I'm here, Andrew.
Good morning. Who's that?
Quintus.
Quintus, good morning. How's it? Oh, you're in Atlanta. We share everybody where you're from. You don't have to tell them your age. You're not 23, though, are you?
No, sir. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Correct. And we've had the pleasure of doing business nearly coming up on 3 years now.
Yes, sir.
Well, would you share a little bit about where you were and where you are? But first of all, tell me what change you made.
So the change, it was two changes. One, that you taught me and made me aware of the importance of being focused versus distracted. And that really is, to me, the number one thing to even get started. The second thing was knowing the difference and being proactive versus being passive. Because a lot of things that are presented to us seem to be proactive, but they're actually passive. And so just knowing the difference and executing that every day in my business, those 2 things really just changed and took me to a different level.
Right. Man, focused. Most people are the opposite of focus is distracted. To reach your goals. And we talked about goals every day, and you're probably tired of talking about them. But the 7 words to reach all goals is attitude, belief, commitment, determination, excitement. And what's the F? Focus. In the moment. of whatever you're doing. Whatever you're doing, be in the moment. If you're calling someone, if you're calling a past customer, if you're following up with someone, if you're negotiating an offer, if you're making a presentation, if you whatever you do, to be focused in that moment gives you so much opportunity to do more business. Amen. So can you share a little bit about your last 2.5 years?
So when I first came to you, I'd only made 35,000 in real estate, and in 2023, in 9 months, I made 205. 2024, I made 207. So far this year, I've made 152. I have 29,000 pending, and then I just got a call this past week from a client that gave me a listing at 950, and she's going to buy at 800. So that's potential 52,000 off of that one client.
One client.
Yep.
Now, is that a past customer client or just a client that you've known? Who is that?
Just a client that I had a relationship with her sister,
Yes.
not a romantic relationship, just knew her. And so by me always taking care of my business, she told her, and they know a lot of other agents, and she told her, she said, look, he's going to go above and beyond. Go with him. And they know quite a few agents already.
Let me tell you something. This is not putting any agent down, but an agent doesn't answer the phone is not going above and beyond. An agent that doesn't call people back is not going above and beyond. An agent that doesn't tell the seller the truth or their client the truth is not going above and beyond. You know, in real estate, there's two words, fiduciary relationship, fiduciary, which means we put our client first and ourselves second. And you've had to do that for them to say, we want you to work with Quintus. See, every person you work with has, you want to write this down, every person you work with has the potential to give you more business. More business. I had a seller one time and they were not happy. I called them, and it had been expired for 3 different companies. And they was rude to me. And you know who I am. I'm Andrew Lacey. So I said, you know what? They've been rude to everybody, I'm sure. Why not go see them on the way home tonight? So on my way home, I went out to a house that was here in a subdivision called Springfield. It was just a brick ranch. I pulled up in the carport. When I rang the doorbell and knocked on the door, I stepped back a couple of feet. When they opened the door, I said, hi, I'm Andrew Lacey. I called you today. And he goes, honey, did this Andrew Lacey guy call you today? She said, yeah. I said, would you be offended if I just came in and talked to you a few minutes? He said, no, come on in. So I walked in the back door, kind of like where the laundry room was. And when I walked in, she was in the kitchen. She just went to the back part of the house. So I said, would you mind if I just walked through your house and tell you why it hadn't sold? And we walked in the kitchen and we walked to the den and we went into the living room, which was on the front part of the house. And there was drums, electric pianos, all kind of, their children had a band. And it was about this wide to get through there, just a narrow path. And we walked on, and as we went towards the bedroom, she just scooted by me and went towards the kitchen. I mean, she wouldn't even be in the same room with me. And we walked through the house, and I came back, and I was standing there in the kitchen, and I said, can I tell you why your house hasn't sold? And can I tell you what I can do? And she now, after I got back in the kitchen, she went back down the hallway, but she stuck her head around the den, and she goes, everything you said makes great sense. Well, I said, I'd love to help you. Did they list with me that day? No. But I followed up with them. Let me see. Again, what did I do? I followed up. Even if they tell me they're going to list with someone else, I'm still going to follow up. I'm still going to stay in touch. But a week or two later, they listed with me and I sold it in less than 30 days. Now, that's a great story. But what did I start this with? Every potential client has the ability to give you more business. 5, 10, 15, 17 homes I sold that they recommended me. Their children, their friends, and they purchased 2 more homes from me and sold 2 more homes. 17 closings from people that were mean to me. See, people are mad. If you could take it this way, they don't know who you are when you call them. Don't take it personally when they're angry or hang up. They're frustrated, but you can help them go forward in their life. And you can look forward to all the business you're going to get from them in the future. Anyone else? Quintus, congratulations. I'm going to share something. Quintus, after working with him for 3 months, had not had any success. And he called me and said he was going to go get a job because he couldn't stay in real estate. And I talked to him about getting a job on the weekend because one day you're going to be great. And you'll never be able to make as much money working with somebody as you can make working for yourself. And in the last 2.5 years, as he said, he's made about a little over 550,000. You know, he wasn't successful the first week or the first month. It took him 6 months before he got his first listing. And that's why I said in 9 months, see, next month is October. I started working in October. It took him 3 months to learn how to get an appointment. See, learn how to get an appointment. And then he started going on appointments, and it took him 3 months to learn the presentation and start getting listings. And that's why he made $205,000 in 9 months. Anyone else that'd like to share this morning?
Andrew,
Yes, ma'am.
it's Diane.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Bryant.
Yes, as you know, I came home last year, or this year, I guess, but I was looking at my numbers, and last year, before Nicholas came, I closed 24. And I just wanted you to know where I am right now. I've closed 15 so far this year, and Nicholas has closed 7. We have 16 active, and we have 6 pending. And it's because I came back home.
People
Because
don't know what come back home means. So
okay,
you got back in the program.
I got back in the program.
I understand. Well, that's very sweet to say I came back home. I wish everybody I ever coached would come back home. You know, I've said before, I would welcome like the prodigal son. I would go out there and reach and hug them and kiss them and break out the signet ring and kill the fatted calf and put the robe on them, because there's no one that I haven't worked with that I wouldn't love to help again, because I'm 100 times better than I was ever. What am I trying to do? What have I been doing the last 60 days? To get even better than I was.
Yeah.
So 16 active, that's totally different than you had when we got together back in March. But
Absolutely.
what would you say, what changed or what did you do differently since you got back in the program, in your words?
Well, I started prospecting every day like before. But the main thing is I get to talk to you and hear from, or not talk, I could talk to you every day if I wanted to before, but your training is more intense and your focus on us and what we're doing is more intense. And because I know you as well as I know you, it just, I don't have to double think about what you're saying. I know what you're telling me is the truth, and I know I need to do exactly what you're telling me, and I know what the outcome's going to be. So it's like a double whammy. I get to listen to you 10 times a week instead of, 5 minutes. And I have Nicholas under me there's something about having somebody that works with you that, I'm 75 years old. I'm only going to work till I'm 80. That's my goal. And I want Nicholas to have a great company by then. And that way I can still make money after I retire.
Absolutely.
And all that I wouldn't be able to do if it wasn't for you and your help. So I would say you're a game changer for me.
Well, thank you. I'd like to be a game changer for every person in this world. I cringe a little bit when you say, Andrew, you're intense. There's a lot of people that's known me that would tell you I'm intense, but I'm intense in a sweet way now. Somebody recently said Andrew used to make people cry because he would crush them And now he makes us cry because he loves us so much. I still make people cry, but I guess loving you and you crying is better than crushing you.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dan. Anyone else would like to share before we get off the call? What time is it, Austin?
1:27.
Okay, right on time. Anyone else would like to kind of tie this up today before we finish?
I would like to, Andrew.
Okay.
This is Angie. I feel like you changed my life. It's been 11 months and I'm more confident, and I feel like the 100 dials is what got me more confident and got me on track.
Okay. You know, let me say this, Angie, your life is different than it was November when I met you in Spartanburg. What you've gotten in the last 10 months is confidence, belief in yourself. And you didn't have that belief because so many people have been beat up in their life. I'm not saying you were, but there's a lot of times you don't have belief in yourself because somebody says you're not worthy, you don't deserve it, you're not good, you're no good. You know, I say all the time on some of the calls, be careful what you say to other people, especially your children and grandchildren. Raise them up, don't put them down. There's a difference of correcting and beating people up or telling them what they can't do. You know, I'm going to talk about, I could talk about the words you talked about, these words here, change. There's 7 words you should change that you never use in your life again. And one of them is, I can't. And that's where you were when I met you. I can't do this. Then the second word, you have none in your heart. You have no hate, but some people have hate. You should never hate coming to work. You shouldn't hate people. You shouldn't hate, you can hate sin, but you shouldn't hate a person. But the A is anger. To be angry and angry at others. And the N is negative. You know, there's one thing I'm never is negative. You know, we have such an opportunity. A G is greed. I don't come to work to build my empire. I come to work each day to try to change someone's life. And the E is ego. Get your ego out of the way. You know, I meet people all the time that says how smart they are. And I say, well, how many closing jobs last year? And they said 4. And I want to say, if you're so smart, why are you broke? But it's their ego not willing to change. You have to be willing to change to have a changed life. And the changes that you make and the changes I suggest, you know, you've taken more listings in the last 2 months than you took the first 8 months. But you changed how you sounded. You went from being weak to strong. You went from being unconfident to you become more confident. I said, until you go out there and believe you're the best, act with certainty and people will follow. Act uncertain and people will question you. Well, there's no question in my mind that you're on the right road for the next 3 months to have the best year of your life in 2026 by the little changes that we talked about that you're going to make. And we're going to start implementing them in October, November, and December so that 2026 will be your best year ever. And if there's anybody out there that sees this and would like anything that I can do to help them, just to talk to me for a few minutes, all you have to do is call me, 864-909-1258. I want to share that I will be in Atlanta. Now I'm going to promote something. On September the 25th, I will be in Greenville, South Carolina at the Marriott from 10 to 12:30. I cannot encourage you enough. I cannot make the suggestion enough to come. Get a shot in the arm or a shot in the head, as Michael Jager called me a few weeks ago. And he said, this week, coach, you gave me a shot in the leg, a shot in the thigh, a shot in the arm, a shot in the head. You gave me all these shots that lifted me up. Well, that's what I'd like to do on the 25th of September. And if you can't come to Greenville on October the 15th in Atlanta and Roswell on Holcomb Bridge Road at the Holiday Inn, I'll be there from 10 to 12:30. All you have to do is call us at 1-800-948-1633, 1-800-948-1633, or go online at andrewlaceytraining.com and you can sign up. And more than likely, you're probably receiving this call from a flyer. All you have to do is click that flyer on. You know, that one click may change your life. Let's make a change. Let's change the way we think and what we say and what we do, and it will change your life. Go out and make it a great day. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.